Hey all, I wanted to get on real quick this evening before I head downstairs and make dinner for my family, just to encourage you with some things that I've been carrying around in my heart all day that the Lord was just impressing upon me. So, if I were to say to you, hey friend, you are special, I think there's a lot of you that would accept that at some level, maybe even just in your head. Um, because there's part of us that really wants to believe that, right? We want to believe that we're special, that we're unique, that we're set apart from everybody else. Um, but there's part of us that wrestles with that. And, stuff has happened in life that has beat us down and it's just made us feel like we're not really significant. But I want to say to you today that you are special. God has made you special. You are unique. And so, um, why I'm bringing this up is because so much of our faith really comes down to taking things from our head, from what we've read or what others have told us about God, and letting that sink down into our heart and becoming part of our inner core to where it can't be shaken. We just know it, we know it, we know it because we've experienced it, we've processed it through with the Lord, and it just cannot be shaken anymore. Um, I think that's why Jesus, actually in the Bible was saying that our faith needs to be like children because, if I were to tell my little ones, hey, you're special, they'd probably come back with some little cocky, not very humble response. But actually, it's not cocky, it's not humble. I think they're just our hearts know in that young place that, yeah, I am special. So if I were to say, hey, Jessa, who's our 6 year old, you're special, she would say, yeah, I know. And I think that's great. It's just as we get older and things kind of war against that we have a hard time sometimes believing that and trusting it. But when we're little, when we know that someone who loves us is saying it, we are like, of course, yes, because you're saying it, so I believe it. And I think that's the way we need to approach God's scripture. And when He says it, we just need to believe it. I mean, even Jesus was saying, oh, that you would just believe. And I think that's just not believe in Him, just in general, like putting our salvation trust in Him, but just with all things that He says. If He says it, we need to believe it. And so, to help you out with that, I just want to give you some scriptures that you can ponder, you can process, you can carry around in your heart today in this context. A lot of them you'll know and they'll be familiar, but just in the framework of I am special. God made me special, so that you can get it into your core and it doesn't become a thing that you have to war against anymore. And so when the enemy comes at you with wah, 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 that wars against that you are special, that God made you special, you just flick it and say, see ya, I'm not taking that in. I don't believe it because I know that God has made me special. So Psalm 139:13. David says, for you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. So God here we see is our creator, right? We also know this from the Genesis account that He created man. And then in Genesis 1:27 it says God created mankind in His own image. In the image of God He created them, male and female He created them. So God here is the creator, but He's also the model. So if we were to look at it like He was painting us, He stood in and became the model, the thing that He is looking at while He's painting us. Isn't that amazing? So, of course, we're special. If God Himself is the model, He's the thing in which He's looking to create us, then of course we're special. Think about it within nature. Snowflakes, kind of important, kind of. He could have just had them all look the same, right? But He didn't. He chose to make each snowflake its own individual thing. There's no snowflake that's alike. Even our fingers, our fingerprints, each finger has its own fingerprint, which is totally unique and different than any person that's ever lived from the beginning of the time up until now. Nobody has shared the same fingerprint. If God, as a creator, takes that much time to make an individual fingerprint for each of your fingers and create a different snowflake of all the snow that's fallen from the heavens, don't you think he thinks you're special? Of course. We're way more important than our fingerprints, and we're way more important than a snowflake. But here's the thing that really touched my heart today. Genesis 1:30. God saw all that he had made, and it was very good. God saw and said it was very good. So this is coming after he's made everything, right? Which included us. It's right the sixth day when he's getting ready to rest and call the seventh day holy, right? He's looking over everything. And he's saying, it's very good. Now, one thing that we know about God is that he is outside of time. He's not in the constraints of our time reference. He has no beginning. He has no end. He's always been. He's always was. He is the God who is, who was, and who is to come, right? And so when he is looking back, or when he's looking over his creation that he made that day, in it, he's not just seeing Adam and Eve and what he literally created there, because he's outside of time. He's looking and he's seeing everything. All of the earth, every person that will ever come to be, because he's already been there. He's in the future. He's seen it. He's also in the past, right? So when he's stepping back and he's seeing and he's saying, this is good. No, not just good. This is very good. He is seeing you in that. I want you to catch that. He sees you. He sees you when he's saying, it is very good. So what I want to do is, I have this book. It's called Daily Spiritual Blessings. It's written by Arthur Burke and Sylvia Gunter. I've had it for probably 6 years now, and I would read it over myself, over my family. I even got to the point where I recorded myself doing all these blessings, and I'll play them in the morning just to bless my spirit and bless my family with these truths. They don't have the scripture references connected to them, but it's all based on scripture. And the first one in this book is blessing your identity. And so I just want to read you this and bless your identity as we wrap things up here. So here we go. Friend, your Father made you special. You are a very special person, created and crafted and designed by God your Father. He planned for you. You are no accident. Your Father made you beautiful and beloved. God invested an incredible amount of effort and concentration in designing you. You are unique, one of a kind. God has thought extensively about you. He smiled on the day he created you, and he said, you are very good. Be blessed. Love you guys.